Kia ora. Kia ora, everybody. This is another video more on the negative side of things in New Zealand. The third in a row, I believe. Last week being about whether you shouldn't or should maybe come to New Zealand, and I don't think it's the time for that. The week before that being about the decline of New Zealand's healthcare system, and today is going to be another one. This one is on bullying. Bullying is a huge problem in New Zealand, and it has impacted my entire life, and I know it's impacted so many other people as well. Before I start this, I just want to quickly say, yes, from now on, for the rest of the year at least, and hopefully a little bit into next year, it'll only be positive videos. So just take this one in. This one is very important. New Zealand's problem with bullying. I encountered my first ever bully when I was 5 years old. She was my very first primary school teacher, and it started on my very first day of primary school. I remember it clearly, unfortunately. My mum took me to school, and it was the first day of school. I'm nervous about things. I'm more of an introvert. So I was a bit anxious to go in. The teacher was having none of that, and she grabbed me by the wrist and pulled me into the classroom. And that's only where it started. She would yell at me and punish me for being too loud. I can say that I was a pretty quiet child. If I blew my nose, telling off. If I didn't know the answer to a question, screaming and telling off. If I did anything, really. And anytime there was a recess, a morning tea or a lunchtime, I had to stay in and put up every single chair in the classroom every time before I could go outside. And I can tell you, putting up chairs in the classroom is an end of day only thing, and everyone does their own. You don't get it where one child does everyone's chairs. I hated it. It was awful, and I was the only one being punished. Of course, I told my mum, and she went and told the principal what was happening, but this teacher had been around so long that she had a sort of tenure, and they couldn't do anything about it. And I have to be incredibly thankful, I suppose, that my mum happened to know someone who was either on the school board or knew someone who was on the school board, so was able to go above the principal's head. And this person knew me and cared about me as well. I don't know what happened to that teacher. I can't remember if she just got, was forced to take time off, or if she got sacked, but I never saw her again. But this has influenced my entire life. I am so nervous around people with any sort of authority. I get jittery anytime a boss, a manager, even just a team leader wants to talk to me, because I am, by instinct, afraid. That child of me is still in there, suffering. My basic instincts whenever I go to a new place is, whenever I start a new school or go to a new job, I still have that fear instinct. It makes me be quiet and try and hide myself and not stand out. I try to do just an average job as much as I can so I don't get any attention. And this would further on impact my schooling life from there. Because with teachers having 30 kids in a classroom, some people do get left out. And when you're the kid who is not only quiet but is practically hiding, like there's a bear in the room or a T-Rex, then you're the kid that is going to get overlooked. And that's what happened to me. Because by the time I was 10 years old, I still didn't know how to use a ruler properly. My handwriting was garbage, and I was no good at math. I had a teacher tell me off, saying I wasn't using a ruler to rule. But I was using a ruler to rule, and it was just terrible. I just couldn't do it. I know that sounds stupid. It's just a ruler. But that is how far behind I was, because teacher after teacher after teacher for those 5 years didn't give me enough attention because I didn't want it. And of course it doesn't stop there. There's always, when I started going on in primary school, the typical bully situation when you're the shy, introvert, glasses kid. Yeah, you tend to get picked on by, the bully kids, the tough kids, the cool kids. That's the stereotypical thing. But it didn't stop there. When I was that 10-year-old boy that I was talking about who couldn't rule things, I had another teacher who, because I was that bad, started picking on me again. She made me stand up in front of the class and just humiliated me. Told everyone how shit I was at everything. I would go home from school not only wanting to not go back to school, but not wanting to wake up in the morning. Of course, I was a kid, so I told my mum everything. Well, my mum brought that up to the teacher. She explained everything from my starting in school to everything I was going through to what I had said to her the night before. And I was lucky that she understood that and that stopped. In fact, after that, she really did a 180. Instead of bullying me and treating me like a burden, she started actually teaching me, putting focus on me. I finally learned how to use a ruler properly. I can draw straight lines with a tool now. My handwriting got better, my education got better. I caught up a little bit to everyone else. I'm still far behind, but I made a big step forward that year, and it is so weird that it started with someone who made me want to do that thing you can't say on YouTube. That is probably the only positive outcome I've ever had from bullying, is someone actually turning the other cheek, turning a new page, starting fresh. Because when it comes to the school bullies, nothing happened. They got a bit of a telling off, backed off for a little bit physically. No more physical beatings for a while, but it was mostly the words, about sticks and stones, all that. Words can't hurt you. So they never cared about people saying awful things about one another. Now, of course, then it moved on to high school, where the school bullies were now bigger. and more intimidating. My growth spurt, not so much. Never really got that muscular build that I've been so promised. Other people who got bullied when they were young did. I have a friend who basically became a mini Hulk overnight. I have a lot of friends who just grew big and strong, and yeah, I was still picked on and bullied and by then, by high school, you're no longer in the kiddie bullying phase. If you've been a bully that whole time, you've learned, you've leveled up, you've either got the new physique to really put on that physical bullying, or you haven't got that physique and you've learned how to bully in other ways, such as with weapons. So my instinct then became to never be alone when traveling, when going anywhere. Going to a movie, had to have friends, right? Going to a festival, had to have a group of friends. Going out to a place like this, had to have a group of friends. I couldn't do anything by myself. But then high school ends, right? I mean, high school and primary school, where you're supposed to be bullied or to bully, and that it's all supposed to finish there. But it doesn't. Because let me tell you, if as a kid and as a teenager you've been allowed to get away with bullying all this time, you don't stop. You don't just turn up and say, I've done it. I've done my bully quota for my life. It's done. That is now inside you. That is you now. I've been to so many jobs where I've ended up being ridiculed. Just because, again, I was the quiet one. So if there were cliques, I was out of them, and therefore I was alone. But it's not just me who's been bullied. Because the worst one is yet to come. I work in disability. I take care of people who can't take care of themselves. And one day I got to work and I saw another staff member bullying one of the people that we are supposed to support. Anytime I've been bullied, I tend to pull back as much as I can, try and look a little bit dominant, but I back away. I don't like that conflict. But when I saw someone taking advantage of someone else, I stepped up to this guy. Sorry. And boy, did he have it out for me. I did everything you're supposed to do then. I told all the higher-ups, I reported it, went to management, all that, did everything you're supposed to do, and they did nothing. They wrote it down, I guess. Turns out this guy had been reported on quite a lot, right? This wasn't a first offense. And he'd gotten away with everything. Bullying clients, other staff members, manipulating parents, all sorts of things. And the upper management didn't do anything about it. Oh, certainly not enough. But yeah, after that, he turned his attention on me. He didn't stop, bullying other people that we were supporting, but he also turned his attention to me. He hit me with a door once, and one time he stalked me to my car. I probably should have just called the police then, to be honest, but nope, I reported everything hoping that they would do something about it. And I was wrong to do that. It took about a year before they started to even try to do anything. And in that time, he still worked with me. So there was this guy making my work life heck, living heck. and nothing was being done about it. And nothing did get done about it until one day I happened to find out that he had done something that I'm not going to describe because it was evil. Right? There's a few things that are probably going through your head. And it's probably one of those things, but I'm going to leave it there. And that was enough. That got him finally suspended, and eventually he left. He didn't even get fired. It was one of those written things where if you agree to this settlement, we won't fire you. We'll just say you quit so you can go get another job somewhere else. And that is unfortunately what it's like here in New Zealand. It is one of our worst aspects. I am shaking right now. I was once asked if there's any positive aspect to being bullied. You know, like the old saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It doesn't. Not really. Not for me, at least. Like I said, I am really bad with any form of meeting new people, because any person could be a predator. Which makes interviews incredibly hard. Right? And it's bad enough that I'm an introvert with anxiety and depression. To also be naturally afraid of people. I think it's in my DNA. Yeah, it's probably in my DNA now. There's been studies about that influences like that can affect your DNA, which means you can pass that on to your offspring. I don't want to pass that on to my offspring. That's terrifying. This is harder than I thought it would be. No, there is no positive to this. You might even think, with all those times, whole life, most of my life anyway, of being bullied, I think the first 5 years I got away without any problems. In like your movies and TV shows, there's always some guy or some... In the movies and TV shows, someone always comes and saves the victim, right? Some good-looking, muscular jock kid or some fiery gal. Ones that are good enough looking and cool enough to be popular, but they've got such a good heart that they're constantly in conflict with the cool kids. They come and save you and you form a great friendship. No, that doesn't happen. That's fiction. The only person who ever saved me was my mum. Yeah. I have actually been fortunate enough that I have done that. I've helped someone who's being bullied, not just in that work scenario, but I did it once in high school as well. I saw some people being bullied, and I came up behind the guy and kneed him, kicked him in the back of the knee. He was not happy about that, but at least that person was left alone. That was cool. That was a cool moment in my life. And funnily enough, he didn't actually bother me too much. Yeah. It was weird. Other people did, of course. I don't know. Maybe that's the solution. But it shouldn't be the solution. It seems like the solution should be... It seems like the solution should be just absolutely punish bullies. Alright? Just fire them or whatever, but Here's a tricky thing about bullying. There's the why. Why is this happening? Why are they doing this? That first bully teacher, the reason she started bullying me was the weekend before I started my first day of school. She got into a car accident and she was still in a lot of pain from whiplash. And the first kid she sees, the first new kid she's introduced to, is this kid that is not completely willing to follow her into the classroom. Those two things connected together. Pain, annoying kid. That's not a good excuse or anything, it's terrible, but there is an underlying cause that you can work with to fix. The kids in my primary school, one of them just had the shittiest home life. Just the worst home life. And I was well known then for having a really good home life. I mean, I've said it enough times, my mum is a saviour, she's a saint. I love her. I had a great family when I was a kid. Yeah, very much a mama's boy. And yeah, still being geeky, shy, all that. I was the perfect target for taking out that aggression. Right? We get attacked. We pass that on. It's this natural instinct of humans, I guess. Even I have done that. I've had that flaw. I've been so beaten down that I've passed that on to other people. Even when I tried to pull it back a bit, it came out in my humour. My humour for a long time was mean things said in a funny way. And I'm lucky that I had very good humoured friends who got that it was just meant to be a joke, but still, they were harsh things I would say sometimes. And I've been lucky enough to be told that and to be given a chance to better myself, and I am trying. Still slip up because I'm absolutely messed up, and the bullying never stops, I tell you that. Just one after the other. Just one after the other. So every now and again, the bad part slips out. But I apologise. I do now. And for anyone that I've ever hurt, I'll gladly apologise. I hate it. Anyway, where was I? Right. First teacher was in pain. Primary school bully was passing on anger through a chain. The second teacher who bullied me. If I had a nickel for every time I had a teacher who bullied me while I was in primary school, I would have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. I love that joke. But it's weird that it's happened twice, but yeah, she just thought I was pathetic, I guess. Maybe she had something going on, but she was given a chance and she turned around. Became one of the best teachers I ever had. That's so weird. That is almost like a fairy tale. It's so weird. The bad guy that I was talking about, the one who did the really bad stuff, I guess he just got away with it for so long without anyone ever wanting to help him, and then when people did want to help him, he was so used to being alone, I guess, that he rejected any sort of assistance or any sort of belief that anything he could do was wrong. I don't know. Messed up. So I think I really believe everyone deserves a second chance. Maybe even more. Because we slip up. But unfortunately, not only they're not given that, a lot of the time just nothing happens at all. New Zealanders have this weird need to avoid conflict, not fighting. We will get into fights. Those are fun, but these sort of difficult social problems, right? We'll sweep that under the rug and do the bare minimum to make it look like something's happened, or just try and shovel the mess off the table and be like, yep, look, it's clean. It's clean. Don't look over there. It's clean. Yeah, that seems to be the problem. Really, yeah. If you... Oh, man, I've heard enough. I've been talking to a lot of people about this before I did this, just to make sure I wasn't alone. And, yeah, typically... if you go and complain about a bully problem, one of three things will tend to happen. One, it will be, swept under the rug. Like I said, clean table, clean floor, under the rug. Can't see it, it's not there. Two, that person will be verbally talked to. Verbally talked to. That's not a... But, no real official telling off. Just that, don't do that, And then that person will realize they've been watched. They'll back up for a bit and then slowly move back into that bullying position. Or, and this is the worst one, the victim will get blamed. We have a lot of that in this culture where the victim will get blamed. They will get told off by their superiors for rocking the boat. It happens a lot, and it's ridiculous. It's one thing to do nothing, but to blame the person who needs help. And in this case, both of these parties need help. And that's the underlying problem. What's the lesson I'm hoping to impart? What do I think will make everything better? If you are bullied, if you're the victim of being bullied, don't back down. If you can't stand up to the person, find someone else that you can tell. And if they aren't going to do anything about it, go over their head. Rock the boat. Who cares? Rock that boat as much as you can. Flip the boat over. It is the job of people higher up to deal with this sort of thing, one way or another. If you can, and you probably can't, and you probably wouldn't want to, I mean, when you're being bullied, you definitely, but try and find this underlying problem. Someone should try and find this reason for this to happen, because you might get a really good ending out of it. It's possible. Not probable, but it's possible. But at the very least, don't let people walk all over you. Get other people to support you as well. That's always big. Don't be afraid of it. Yeah. That's really all I can say. There isn't this perfect solution to the problem, obviously, but I think we need to start working towards making it better. Helping the victims and the bullies. Of course, if they don't change their ways, then do something else to them, but everyone deserves a second chance. As long as everyone deserves a second chance. But you're not alone. Alright, I promise you're not alone. You can find people to help you. Like I said, for the rest of the year, it is all going to be positive videos. No more negative videos. Definitely no more sad videos like this for a while. I'm going to try and keep it positive for quite some time. I might even try and keep it positive all through January. We'll see. Yeah. Well, I guess last word isn't to the bullies, the victims, but to the possible observer. If you see someone getting bullied, try and actually do something, please. You don't have to immediately interfere and try and stop what's happening. It might be too dangerous, but tell someone or be there for them after the conflict's finished. Do something. You'll probably have a friend for life if you do. Be part of the solution. Right. Back to what I was doing. Right, I'll see you next week. Sorry for this. It hasn't been great, but I'll leave it here. No more mumbling. Ka kite ana.